Strange but true stories. Tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. A glimpse into the future? When I was a teenager, I had two really intense dreams one night. The first one was about an online friend of mine calling me to say she'd broken up with her boyfriend, and I sang a few lines of Seal's Don't Cry to her over the phone. The second dream was finding a real-life friend's dead body floating in her bathtub. I didn't think anything of it up until I logged online that evening and the online friend came online to tell me that her boyfriend broke up with her. I immediately asked if I could help her, if I could call her, and she said no. I remember thinking that it meant something, like I could change it. Not long after, my phone rang, and it was the real-life friend from the dream calling me. I was completely freaked out at this point, but talked to her normally. She was just talking about school and stuff up until I realized I heard a splash in the background. I asked her, "Are you in the tub?" And when she said yes, I felt like my heart had stopped. I asked her, "What did you do?" Well, she didn't answer me right away, and then after a very long pause, she told me she'd taken an entire bottle of pills and chased it with mushrooms and vodka. She'd gotten scared waiting for it to hit her, so she called me so she'd hear someone's voice. I hung up and called 911. By the time they got there, she was unconscious, but alive. Today, she's a mom to a beautiful little girl, and she's okay. When I was 16, I went to California with my mom. We were there on vacation, and we were doing some shopping in La Jolla. Mom wanted to go into an artist's studio that I wasn't too interested in, so I decided to wander around the area to, see what I could see. I walked past an alley between two shops, and I saw a figure resting against a dumpster. From where I stood, I could tell he was very likely homeless due to his tattered, dirty clothes, well-traveled shoes, and grungy demeanor. He looked up at me and, in a raspy, tired voice, asked, "Son, might I trouble you to spare $1?" I'm not usually the type to approach such situations, but I figured since we were in a relatively active area that I didn't have too much to worry about, and I had a couple of dollars in my pocket. Plus, he was a human in need. I walked closer to him, pulled out $1 from my pocket, and I handed it to him. And I noticed his hat was a Vietnam War veteran hat with a few pins on it. I asked him if he had served, and he said that he most regrettably did. He also said that since you were kind enough to donate $1, I believe that I could buy you a story or two. Now, I've always loved war stories, memorabilia, strategies, anything. I love the stuff going way back, even before I was a teenager. So I was more than happy to listen to him. He began to tell me his story. He said he was 19 when he first arrived in Nam under the colors of black and yellow. "Yes, sir. I was one of the first. Damn proud of it, too." He told me the story of how he was a helo gunner on the Pleiku campaign, and during the Tet Offensive he was the unlucky person that had to carry what he called the meat saw around. That's what he referred to his weapon as, the M60. He said his entire squad was wiped out by a rocket barrage and that none of them made it out of the city. He really emphasized the word none. Of course, I was thinking to myself, well, thankfully, at least one made it out of that conflict. His life seemed to be not so great at the moment, but at least he had made it out alive. It was at this point that he got visibly distressed, and I felt extreme sympathy for him. It was tough to see him in such visceral pain. It was obvious that he cared for the guys he served with and fought alongside with and had died. All the people that he'd shared so much with, suddenly gone. He never mentioned his name, but after a few moments of silence, he looked up at me and said, "Thank you for listening, and thank you again for the $1. I promised you 2 stories, but as I could barely make it through one, I'd like you to have this. You seem like you'd appreciate it more than me." and he pulled off a pen from his hat and he handed it to me. It was a poorly made and weathered M60 pen. I thanked him for the pen and for the story, and I thanked him for his service so that people like me could live our lives comfortably and without knowing the horrors of war. My phone began to vibrate. I pulled it out of my pocket and I answered it. My mom was asking where I was. I stepped out of the alley and I flagged her in my direction. You know those movies where the protagonist is talking to some mysterious being, he turns away for a second, and then turns back only to find that that person has disappeared without a trace, just completely gone? Yeah, that. I turned around and he was gone. Vanished. There was nowhere he could have gone, nowhere he could have hidden. Nothing there but a padlocked dumpster. I searched around for him, but he was gone. He disappeared. I heard nothing. Mom didn't see anyone run past me. Nothing. I told Mom about him, shared the story that he had shared with me, and I showed her the pen. And she agreed that it was totally weird. Later I thought back on it and remembered that he had said his entire squad was wiped out, and none of them made it out of the city. None of them made it out of the city. This has been another strange but true story. So, tell us what you think in the comments below. And if you have a strange story you would like to share with us, send us an email to strangebutTrueStories2@gmail.com. Subscribe if you haven't already, and sign up for notifications so you know when the next SBT video drops to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Steve White. Until next time.